Welcome to the Pregnantpreneur Project, your quest to the most sacred adventure of your lifetime. Here is your host, Blanca Vergara.
Hello and welcome. Here I am, your guest, Blanca Vergara, to welcome you to the Pregnantpreneur Project. And this evening or this afternoon, it depends where you are listening to us, we have Stephanie Dunn with us. Thank you very much, Stephanie, for being here with us tonight.
It's my pleasure, Blanca. Thank you for having me.
A quick intro about Stephanie. Stephanie is a licensed spiritual practitioner since 2001, so she's been around more than a decade. Stephanie is the creator of Sacred Birth Work, childbirth preparation that embraces the whole being, emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical. She's the author of the Sacred Birth Workbook and the mentors birth professionals around the world in the Sacred Birth Mentor Program. Stephanie has a private coaching practice via telephone and Skype. I met Stephanie in a big conference in San Diego about 3 years ago. Sorry, that's not true. 2 years ago, because my son is a year and a half old. And I was pregnant at that time, and I guess we are following each other with pregnancy because I'm pregnant again, and that's when I am now again with Stephanie on the phone. So it's just a delight to have you here, Stephanie. You are kicking off the Pregnantpreneur Project, and I would like you to start with an introduction of what is your work? What is the Sacred Birth Work? What is that?
Well, it began when I was first pregnant with my son Jasper over 8 years ago. I knew I wanted to have a home birth. And what I was not prepared for was the fear that met me at every turn when I would share my desire with my community. And so what I know as a metaphysical practitioner is that fear is not real. And so I started to use the various spiritual tools that had been practicing for many years with my own pregnancy: prayer, meditation, visioning, affirmations, and really created an opportunity via the Sacred Birth workshop to bring together other women that I thought that this might potentially help. Because if I was feeling fear, I thought surely there's other women feeling fear. And I started to question myself, and which is, in retrospect, and with all the women that I counsel these days, it's like, women questioning themselves is probably one of the worst things that we can do when we're pregnant, because we are really the only ones who know what's right for us. And so I call that deferring to your own inner authority. So with my work now, I'm very interested in how it is that I can support mamas and their mates to come back to self, to come back to center, to defer to their own inner authority, and really to help themselves to understand the sacred nature of what's unfolding in their lives as they prepare for their birth and to become parents.
I can so much empathize with what you're saying. This is just so profound. Here in the Netherlands, there is a saying that really hurts me, or hurt me. Was the idea that people ask you, do you know it's a boy or a girl? And you say, I don't know. And they reply to you, well, as long as the child is healthy. And that made me furious. I was thinking, well, what are you telling me? That if the child is not healthy, I will not love him or her? And then I was thinking to myself with, the thinking of attraction and how you attract things. I was thinking, my God, am I attracting an ill child just because of these conversations I'm having? I was terrified of the ultrasound, the serious one of 20 weeks when they tell you about all these illnesses. So this fear concept is so much in society that even if you don't want to have it, you end up having it because it is brought to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had an innate knowing that home birth was right for me, and when everyone in my circle was telling me, "Do you know what you're doing? You're threatening the life of your own child," and I mean all this. You get barraged with it, And I was like, "No, I know that this is what's right for me, but nevertheless, the fear seeps in, and so it was really important for me personally." And now with the work that I do for expectant mamas to really help them to understand that they know what's right for them. And that if they're being questioned, that they get another opportunity to turn within and to determine what is right for them. So I find that here in the United States and around the world really, we've abdicated our power to a medical authority that knows better than we do. And our culture, as a result, is in not a great state in terms of where birth is at and how it is that we're treating mothers and families ultimately. So there's a lot of work to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And going back to your own story, did you manage to get that home birth as you wanted?
I did. Yeah. Jasper was born in Venice Beach, here in Los Angeles, and May 13th, 2004. We just celebrated his 8th birthday, and there was a midwife and a doula present, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was everything I'd hoped. And after I experienced that home birth with him, I really felt just immense satisfaction like I'd never felt before in my life, like I could die and know that I had lived. Like it was just such a profound experience of living and of being and being empowered to experience that home birth. It was amazing for me.
Oh God, that is so beautiful. I can die and I know I lived. Oh God, it is just so, it really gets to my bone. I was also blessed with home natural birth, and I could even say painless birth, ecstatic birth, sacred birth. And I didn't put it with those words, but I empathize. After that experience, I could die. I really felt that I lived. And that's what I'm doing this conference, because I want more women to have that. It's just a human right.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, after that moment that you said, wow, this is possible for me, I wanted to make it possible for other women. Mm-hmm. What was your next step? And
well, I was already teaching workshops, and I already had a clientele of counseling clients, and it was pretty much an easy next step to think, well, maybe I could gather together some expectant mamas and see if they resonate with what it is that I'm up to here. And I created the first Sacred Birth workshop just before Jasper was born in April of 2004. And it was profound again. I mean, there was an immense amount of healing that unfolded for the women that were in the group. There was grief that was needed to be processed, connected to a previous pregnancy. We had a doula and a hypnobirthing practitioner in there to educate the women about the need for doulas and other forms of childbirth preparation. See, Blanca, what I learned in my first and second pregnancies was that we do a great job in America of preparing women for the physical nature of birth. What my work endeavors to support is the full spectrum of being that we women are. We are not just physical bodies. We have a mind. We have spirit. We have emotions. And of course we have a body. And so I'm interested in addressing the full spectrum of being, the whole rainbow of being that we women are, and providing an opportunity for those other aspects of self to be explored and heard.
And I will even question if globally is that way that the physical is okay explained, just the fact that women keep giving birth horizontally, lying on their backs, that tells me that the information about anatomy is not very well given, because that way of giving birth goes against gravity. Mm-hmm. And when I learned that, because I'm not a doctor, when I learned that, I was appalled. And that I am in a highly developed country, I am in Europe. I'm not talking about, I'm in, I don't know, in Africa or in South America or whatever. And it's still not right.
No.
And having said that, what you are saying is very important, because the emotional and spiritual part is huge. It's an earthquake what happens in pregnancy and birth.
It is, and it occurs prenatally, and of course it's incredibly present and heightened when we're actually in labor and giving birth. So it's I just have to speak to what you said about women giving birth on their back. I mean, the whole way that came into being was out of convenience for the doctors. So, birth isn't about being convenient for anyone. And for a medical practitioner to schedule a cesarean or to schedule an induction as a convenience, I feel, as you do, it's appalling.
It's against humanity.
Mm-hmm. It is, and so we've just lost ourselves. We've lost who we are. We've lost who the power that we have as women, and it's time to reclaim it. It's right
Absolutely.
there. It's not gone anywhere. The power is still there. We have it. We just have to hold on to it and stand in it.
Yeah. You have so much to give, girls on the line. This woman is just so profound. I don't know how I'm going to divide all the things that you have to give, but let's start. Let's start with the number one thing that you will say to a woman who is in the stage of fear, uncertainty, but still she has the courage to be on the line, and she is here. So this courageous pregnant woman who subscribes to this series of conferences, what could you give as first step for her?
Mm-hmm. Well, creating awareness around what's happening for you is enormous. I think the first step, really, she's in it. She's listening to us, and she's educating herself. It's so important for women to understand the landscape of pregnancy and birth. And what's also important is to find sources of information that she resonates with, all right? Because there's a lot of information out there connected to pregnancy and birth. And what I found is that I would pick up a book that had a vibration of fear, and I would put it down again. And I would know within a few, a page or two, and I'd say, okay, this isn't for me, and I would put it down. And then I would pick up books that were resonant for me, that I knew were not about creating more fear, unnecessary fear, that were based on purely information, informing the woman about what was unfolding for her and what could potentially unfold for her. And so my library was really small at the beginning. The books of Ina May Gaskin, I highly recommend, and Sheila Kitzinger. Those were my real treasures in my early pregnancy. Janet Velasquez was another one, author. So finding the books, finding and the same would go for providers as you're researching your birth team, I like to say, you want to find providers that you really resonate with. It's not enough to buy a book or to find a provider that somebody else has recommended. It's got to be a fit for you. It's got to be resonant, as I like to say. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh God, you remind me the very first pregnancy, the pregnancy when we met was my second pregnancy because the first one ended up in a miscarriage. So I was terrified, of course. And I went to the library, picked up the book, and after a few pages, I was terrified. There was no way I could cope with 42 weeks of uncertainty, how I was going to live an entire year with fear. I cried that whole night. It was so devastating to read any of that specific book, but it's full of that. There are so many negative books, negative websites, negative people. Mm-hmm. So it's crucial for us to run away from them really seriously. Yeah. It's all about consciousness, and so obviously, as a spiritual practitioner and a metaphysician and a counselor, that's what I work with. I work in the field of consciousness. Many people say, "Oh, Stephanie, are you a midwife or a doula?" And I say, "Well, I'm a midwife of consciousness." And so I'm interested in supporting people to give birth to themselves, to who it is that they're here to be. And so we can feel when we're in tune with ourselves, we can feel the consciousness that created a book. And, it breaks down really simply for me. It's either love-based or it's fear-based. So. Oh, this is awesome. Mm-hmm. And guys, you can apply it for books and websites and conferences and chats with your friends, etc. Mm-hmm. Awesome. This is so powerful. So this, let's say, this huge step one. I think with that you can already assure that you are going to have an awesome pregnancy, an awesome birth, just if you take just step one of Stephanie. So I don't know what you're going to come up with number 2.
Oh, well, something that I love to talk about and share with my clients and the women in my programs is the importance of self-care. And I call it excellent self-care. It's never more important than when a woman finds herself to be pregnant to practice self-love in ways that she may never have done prior to becoming pregnant. So I equate self-love and self-care together. And when I was, prior to meeting my beloved, I was deeply engaged in my practitioner training at Agape, which is my spiritual home here in Los Angeles. And what I was embarking on was my own love affair with self with a capital S, self/God, spirit. And so what I determined was that in order for me to meet my beloved and to start the family that I knew was my destiny, I had to be in a loving relationship with myself. And so that sort of brought me to the place of understanding the need for me to be treating myself with love at every turn. And so I engaged in, I experienced long, beautiful bubble baths where I would read my spiritual books. I would take myself to the movies. I would buy myself big, beautiful bouquets of flowers. And I was working out with a personal trainer physically as well. So I was getting in really great shape. For what exactly? It didn't matter. I just knew that I needed to treat myself like a goddess in preparation to meet my one. Well, sure enough, several months later, he showed up. And so, and two years later, we were married. And then 9 months after that, we had our baby. But the point is that the self-care muscle was, and I like to refer it to a muscle because the more we use it, the easier it is to put ourselves first. Because as a mom, Blanca, when you're giving from an empty well, you suffer and everyone suffers, right? So when we're in the prenatal experience, let's take everything that we can to put ourselves first and to give ourselves what we need. Because ultimately, in a family setting, when baby's finally here, it's like only you're the one who knows what you need. Your mate doesn't always know what you need, and your children certainly don't know what you need. They're going to be looking to you about what they need all the time. So you need to be the one who can calibrate and determine for yourself what it is that you need in any given moment. And so I encourage my clients to create an excellent self-care regimen. To list everything, everything that makes for your experience of excellent self-care. And that's going to look different to each woman. But when we can see that list and we can remind ourselves, it's time for me to go out with a girlfriend and have some girlfriend time, or it's time for me to get that massage I've been wanting to get, or it's time for me to go to that prenatal yoga class I've been wanting to go to. It's time. So.
Oh, absolutely. When you were talking, there was a thing that just popped up in my mind. You were talking about you were the only one who knows what you need. And in my experience, we pretend that we do not know what we need because everybody's first and we forget that we don't know. So what came to my mind is the idea of owning what we need. And I love the word that you used a regimen of excellent self-care. So it's my 2 cents of owning what you need.
Beautiful. Okay. It's so true. It's so true. It's so easy for us as women, as we're caregivers by virtue of our sex, really. And it's so easy for us to give and overgive. And so then we get into the shadow side of giving, and where ultimately we're suffering. And we may not even be aware of the fact that we're suffering. You see it a lot in caregiving professions like nursing and hospice care. And so we have to be the ones that give ourselves what we need. And like you said, owning it, taking responsibility for our own health and well-being.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And it can come in so many ways, Years ago, I did an exercise of all the things that I love to do. Mm-hmm. I made a list of the things I love to do. And at that time, I was really out of my center. Mm-hmm. I was doing none of them. I was just living out of the memories of doing those things, but I was doing none. So now, no way. It's part of my KPIs, my key performance indicators to, go to to go to a museum, to have flowers on every day in my house. Those things are important to me, so they have to be 100% all the time.
And it comes down, for me, Blanca, it comes down to spiritual principles. So what do flowers represent? They represent the spiritual principle of beauty. Beauty is really important to me, and I think it's important to many women. And so I work a lot with spiritual principles, whether it's via prayer or meditation, to support the moms that I work with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Key. Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to elaborate on this one, or we move on to your next point?
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about this because when I think about the most important spiritual principles for moms, what comes to mind as one of the most important ones is peace. And especially with the busy moms, the busy expectant moms that are going to be listening to us, in the workaday world, the 9-to-5 world, corporate world, wherever it is that you find yourself working, it's never more important that when a mama is pregnant to find ways to create peace on a day-to-day basis, and to really guard against those experiences and those people that take away your peace. So
please elaborate on that, because I think so many women desire this, but how can we give it really a 3D understanding, if you wish?
Mm-hmm. Well, it begins with how you start your day. You know, by taking just a few moments before you get into the swirl of the day to ground yourself, to center yourself. It could be via meditation. It could be some yoga stretching. It could be a prayer or speaking some centering words. It could be by putting specific music on, something just for you. You know, something that is just for you. Because here's the thing, it's not just you that's having this experience. You are the mother baby. It's one unit. You and baby are one. So whatever you're doing, it's informing the baby that's growing within you. And if we want to create a new humanity, which is what we're ultimately about by really being conscious in birth, then we want to bring our awareness to how it is that we can be more peaceful, more loving, more of the time. So if we can start off at the beginning of the day, great. And then if we're at work and we need, I love visual reminders, you know. I'm a big one for visual reminders. So if you have a whiteboard or if you have sticky notes or something that can remind you about how precious you are, because you are very precious. You are a pregnant mama, and you are the center of the universe. So if you feel like you're the center of the universe and you're questioning that, I'm here to tell you that you're feeling that way because you are the center of the universe. You're creating life. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
So I like to support my clients to get into that place of understanding that what's unfolding for them is a miracle. Simply by being and simply by breathing, you are creating life.
Yeah.
So,
beautiful.
So it's mindset work, but it's also, it can occur very practically by ensuring that you do get to that prenatal yoga class and that you are finding the books that support you in a peaceful and loving way, and that your birth team reflects that too, you know?
Yeah, totally. Let me give you an example. It sounds like vain and silly, but it's really working for me. A friend of mine is organizing a fashion show with women, everyday women. So I told her, surely you do not have a everyday pregnant woman. Can I be in your show? And she said yes. And I've been going to the walking sessions, to the rehearsals, and I've been having the experience that you are talking about. The experience, the physical experience of walking that catwalk gives me the idea of I am precious. And I don't think all women need a catwalk, but, if you can find your metaphor of the catwalk, it's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's really powerful. So awesome. I love your visual reminders.
And I love it. You're going to be walking a catwalk as a pregnant, powerful woman. I mean, we're really in this place right now in 2012 of really defining what it means to be pregnant and to feel beautiful in our pregnancies.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because that's something that I do personally feel. I love my pregnant body, and I wish that other women could do the same, because it's a miracle. It's a miracle. It's just so fantastic. Yeah. I'm a walking miracle.
You are.
You are a walking miracle.
You are. You are, and you and your baby are doing it together. You're not alone.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's a weave. I am two people. Yeah.
You are two people.
Mm-hmm. It's just so beautiful, Stephanie. And what I find really powerful is that it's practical, because sometimes the spiritual principles get just stay as an idea, but really moving them from a desire to an actual action or an object is very powerful.
Yes. Yeah, and if you want to work with, there are many spiritual principles that we can work with, but if you want to work with peace, then I recommend that you can just write peace on your whiteboard or on your a sticky note, and it will just remind you to give that to yourself, and that is the truth of who you are. I really believe I'm very visual. I'm an artist, and I don't paint so much these days, but I have painted over the years, and I do intend to paint again. My kids are my canvases right now, I like to say. But when we can focus on that which we want to create, like literally the words that embody that which we want to create, that can really help us.
Yeah.
But it could just as easily be harmony or balance or prosperity or beauty, wholeness, wellness. So those are just some of the principles that I work with.
Yeah. And it just perfectly matches with the self-care regime because it's going to be food for you. It's nourishment for you just to see those words.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. We want to take our focus off of that which doesn't support us and place it on that which does support us. And the thing about being pregnant is life is changing for you every day. You are not who you were yesterday. And you're certainly not who you were at all before you were pregnant. And so in order to really get with who it is that you're becoming, we need to become present in whatever way we can with our breath, to stay as best as we can out of the future. It's easy for us to get caught up in the future and get overwhelmed potentially, to just do what we can to stay present. And so, there are obviously many spiritual practices that do that help us stay present, meditation, but moving meditations like yoga or walking, even just walking, can be so helpful for a pregnant mommy.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. It is so true. Because I was so depressed during that first pregnancy, I was really lying down. And now I have a different state of mind, and I started walking and cycling. Wow, it's just terrific. I don't really do yoga, but I can understand that it will be good for me. But the simple walking is terrific.
Yeah, it's going to depend upon what you found what works for you, Blanca. The cycling and the walking, and each mama has to find what's right for her. It's really, I'm really wanting to support my clients to get away from any kind of prescription for healthy pregnancy. It's really about finding what works for you and doing that, because you're going to do what you like.
Yeah.
You're not going to do what you don't like.
Yeah. I think if I am reading you correctly, the only have to in your book is you have to listen to your inner authority.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, because that is what that is what will carry us through the pregnancy and the birth and into the postpartum realm, because we're asked to make, Blanca, we're asked to make a lot of decisions about our children in the first 2 years of life. And we are the ones who know best.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is so important. This destroys in a loving way the attitude of being victims. And then the woman walks in on the driver's sits on the driver's seat of her life and the life of her children.
Exactly.
So you have talked to us about this choosing what we get, what kind of information we eat, let's say. What kind of books, what kind of websites, what kind of providers we are going to have. And I love how you say it. The parameter is love, fear. Love, fear. If it's love, I go that direction. If love, I go that direction. And then you talk about the excellent self-care regime, which I found that amazing. And you also mentioned this concept of being present, and I don't know if that was point number 3 or
present.
Yeah, because that's of course huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really easy for women to feel overwhelmed and stopped by getting too far ahead into the future. And so we can really support ourselves by, first of all, we have to in the field that I work, it's all mind. Okay, and so our minds are incredibly powerful, and if we're not careful, they can have dominion over us. So we want to be the ones who have dominion over our minds, and we can work with our minds in conjunction with our hearts to create the life of our dreams, and of course the pregnancy and birth of our dreams. That's the goal here. So it's always about finding that balance, particularly for the working mom. How to find the balance. And so I find that the best way to create balance is to do whatever you can do to stay present with yourself. And what can be helpful is to share with your partner what's coming up for you in terms of what you may be feeling overwhelmed about, or what you may be experiencing fear around. To talk it out with your partner, talk it out with a trusted mentor or coach, or somebody who you trust that can give you a sacred ear, I like to say. You know, they don't have an agenda. They want what's best for you. That's who you want to be talking to. You don't want to be talking to people who are any fear-based at all, or that have an agenda. You want those that have your best in mind, always.
I love how you call it your sacred ear.
Mm-hmm.
My husband is a Dutchman, and I'm originally from Mexico. Mm-hmm. And we kind of somehow have different cultures. I'm very much into the agenda, the planning, what are we going to do, milestones, and etc. So I'm more Dutch than he is somehow, and he's more Mexican than I am. And his solution was always very good to this, I would, and I do it still today, that I will charge in my mind into the future because I'm a big person of planning. And I will go with my fear because, oh my God, this is not that this thing is not like this, or it's not like that, or I don't have enough information, particularly in pregnancy. And he will tell me the most Mexican thing to say. We'll see, Blanca. And I think that this is really wise because we start to get worried about things that are not there yet, and it's just so far in the future, and that all the problems that I thought in my life that could happen never materialize. Never, including in pregnancy, delivery, and child care, and never.
Yeah, your husband is wise. He is. Yeah, he shows you
my secret year.
Mm-hmm. So you made me think of something that my teacher, Reverend Michael Beckwith, always says, and he says that we cannot worry and love at the same time.
Awesome. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So again, we're being asked to choose. We're being asked to choose love.
I have the goosebumps about this, because this applies to pregnancy more than in any other case, because as you were saying before, we are precious. We are building a person. We are a miracle. We're not building a baby, because I find it almost derogative that we're building a baby. We're building a human being, and that human being will be part of society, will be a family. It's the future of humanity. It's huge. It's not a baby.
It's huge.
So putting that into the context of this sentence, we cannot worry and love at the same time. We cannot be producing a baby, which is the biggest act of love, and being worried. This is just so big, and this is the work that you are doing. This is a very hard nut to crack, and you've been giving us lots of clues on how to do it. But with everything that you have told us, how can you take us even a notch further on this concept?
Well, I keep thinking about women who are working, listening to me. And as you educate yourself around your own preciousness and your own pregnancy, there's probably going to be an opportunity for you to educate your coworkers and your boss about your pregnancy and what your needs are changing. You might find that you're feeling more tired in the afternoon. You might need to take a little time out and shut your door and just maybe have a little cat nap. You know, the concept of the darkened room in corporations is an idea that I don't know who's actually doing this, probably Google, but the idea of having a room where you can either go and meditate in or go and sleep in and have a nap, I think it's brilliant because it's recognizing the need to turn away from the external world and to turn within, and however that looks like for you, whether it's a 15 to 20-minute meditation or a half-hour nap, if that's what a pregnant mama needs. The needs of the pregnant mama are enormous, and so I think there's probably a tendency for a woman and maybe even her boss to make her wrong for feeling tired or being more hungry and needing more time for herself. And so I guess what I'd like to just affirm for the women that are listening is that there's nothing wrong with you. You're pregnant.
Beautiful.
And you need what you need. And for those who have never been pregnant before, they might not understand what you need. So in order for things to be harmonious in your work environment, you first have to understand what you need, and then you can educate others about how your needs are altering as you go into your middle to late stages of your pregnancy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just so true. I still do it, but it was more clearer during my first pregnancy that sometimes I felt bad, but honestly I couldn't describe what it was. So I tried to divide it in the smaller chunks, you know. Mm-hmm. I feel pressure here, I feel heat here, my legs feel this way. Instead of jumping into the conclusion of I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm angry or sad or whatever. And that calmed me down a lot, just to describe the symptoms, to be able to come up with what I need, because I didn't know.
Yeah, sometimes in just, creating awareness and speaking that forth can be healing in and of itself, about where we're at and what we need at any given moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, we go back to the awareness. We are almost getting to the top of the hour, and I know that you are a very generous professional, and you have come up with a special gift for the people on the line. Mm-hmm. So I would like that you tell us what is that?
Yeah, sure. So for those of you who have resonated with anything that I've said here about creating greater peace in your experience of your pregnancy, I am offering a 75-minute workshop called 3 Secrets to Creating a Peaceful Pregnancy. And it's happening on July 19th at 7:30 in Amsterdam time.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be 7:30 in Amsterdam. It will be 10:30 in Pacific Standard Time and 1:30 Eastern. So in that workshop, I'll be getting deeper into how it is that you can more practically create peace in your own life and your pregnancy. And there'll be an opportunity for those who are on the call with me to share what's going on with your life and your pregnancy and to receive coaching from me. So
it'll be an open call.
Awesome. It will be. Yeah. Yeah. And if you would like to register for that workshop, you can go to this link, www.peacefulpregnancy2.eventbrite.com.
I will, of course, be putting this link in the page where this will be published so that everybody gets it. But, if they are listening to the MP3, still they can get it. Awesome. So that's very generous of you, Stephanie, because I think this is the core of the matter, the fear, the uncertainty, and what's the antidote is peace.
Yeah, and there's the fears that we're conscious of, and then there's the fears that we're unconscious of, and so I'm interested in looking at both. And replacing them with peace.
Yeah. So beautiful. Mm-hmm. So then I'm going to ask you, Stephanie, to because of course we still have a few minutes to. I mean, it's so vast what you have to share with us, with so many years of experience and so many families that you have helped. To listen to your intuition and to see what is that thing that they need to hear the most from you now.
Well, the one thing that I really haven't spoken to is the importance of the papa or the mate. And, the baby inside of you wasn't created without him. And so it's so important for him to be a part of the journey and to embrace him or her, because sometimes it's two women, or sometimes it's two dads. So it's just really important to do whatever you can to bring him into your world, because it's a foreign world for him. And I'm just going to speak to those of you that are male mates right now. It's a foreign world for him. And, you cannot expect him to read every single birth book that you get out of the library or that you buy at the bookstore. What you can help him with is to flag the most important parts of the books that you would really like him to read and let him know that it's important to you that he take a look at this, or that you even set aside time in the evening to read together. Because if there's anything going on for your mate that needs to be cleared, you want to do that. You want to involve him as much as possible. So in my practice, I do work with both pregnant mamas and their mates. And I feel that it's really important to let the mates and the dads know just how important they are to the entire process. And that if you are having your birth in a hospital setting, that's the most important place for him to be his powerful, masculine, supportive self. And that you are incredibly valued. For those dads that are listening.
Oh, God.
You're so important.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more. We had our son here at home and in water in a birth tub. And sincerely, I couldn't have done it without him, from holding my hand to calling the midwife, giving the insurance papers, giving me something to eat, holding my hand, putting the water in the right temperature, the towels. And you know what was the best? He was dancing while he was doing all those things. And I really honor him because what you're saying is very important, that this is not a work for sissies. This is really for the most masculine and powerful part of them. And that's something that we need, and that they can offer that.
Well, just as we have given our power away in the Western medical model of care, men have as well for their women. And so because they defer, again, to the medical authority, and I feel that that's a tragedy. And it's a power that men can take back simply by claiming it, simply by owning it, that they have that power, and that it really matters. It is probably will never matter as much as it does on their child's birthday. So take that power, men, and stand in your power, and be the light for your rock star goddess mama who's giving birth to your child. She needs you more than ever.
So awesome. Oh, I'm so happy that you're talking about this, because it's not just this is not just a conversation just for women. They are just extremely important. The men in our lives, all of them.
They are. They really are. Mm-hmm.
I'm absolutely ecstatic, Stephanie, and ladies on the phone, and the intelligent men. I can tell you, we just scratched the surface of what this woman has for the world. I'm immensely thankful to you, Stephanie, and for the work, how much you have inspired me, and how much you have inspired all these people around the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, it's my pleasure. I can just continue to say yes to what I'm being asked to do. So thank you for the tremendous honor of being a part of your Pregnantpreneur project. I know it's going to serve many, many women and families, Blanca.
It's just so beautiful. People in Australia, people in the US, in Europe, it's very beautiful.
The Middle East.
Yeah, it's really outstanding, the locations. Give us the very last sentence to say goodbye now.
Never forget that right where you are, love is your true nature. Peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, everybody else. Until the next time.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was so beautiful. That was really so beautiful. I get the feeling that I want to keep the video because it's just so pretty. It's,
you see my heart behind me, Blanca.
Yeah, radiant love. It's so beautiful. And what I like is that it's noticeable that this is an American-European cooperation, because here, I mean, the light is on, but just for recording, I always appear very dark.
That was great.
Oh, bless
that was
you.
Great. Thank you so much. I got to share so much of what really matters to me, so thank you.
It's really outstanding, the work that you're doing. I'm so appreciative. If a spirit really brings me to continue in this path of something around birth and pregnancy, we have to figure out how I can cooperate with what you're doing, meet other people in the world. I don't know, but let's say that I don't ever do it again. Well, in reality, it's like this fashion show. It will never repeat, because now I'm pregnant of this little girl, and even next year, doing whatever other program interview will be a different thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, make sure you get video of your fashion show, okay?
Oh yeah, and I'm
totally.
going to post it in the Pregnantpreneur project.
Great. Awesome.
Because, I mean, goodness, it sounds a little bit vain, but it's not. I think women are also sexy, and being pregnant is also sexy, and birth is also sexy.
Yeah, we didn't even get to touch on that. That's a whole other conversation we could have.
Yeah.
Seriously. And if you don't have a copy of Orgasmic Birth, you really want to get a copy, Blanca, for your own birth.
The DVD?
No,
the book.
Yeah. I highly, highly recommend that book for you.
Awesome.
And for your project and, to teach from. And it's amazing, Blanca. An amazing, amazing book.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I don't know. We'll see what happens next year. I'm really leaving it open.
Okay, cool.
I just feel that this baby is pushing me to a higher levels of spiritual embodiment.
Mm-hmm.
Not just about talking about it or feeling it or seeing that it's nice, but I have to take action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're going to talk tomorrow about marketing. Yeah. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, and, I'm going to bed, and you have a really great afternoon.
Sweet dreams, girl. Big love to you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.